Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. No, the thumbnail is not clickbait. Yes, I am rocking my Shadow Kyogre maxed out to level 50 in this video, paired up alongside some friendly faces. And I created this line because I wanted Rhyperior to have absolutely zero play against this team. Some obvious core breakers on the team that you'll eventually see are most fairy types not named Zacian or Xerneas. Those are manageable with Kyogre, but Primarina is probably a top left. Sometimes people play like bozos and you can capitalize on that. Every inch counts, as they say. Without further delay, let me hit play and let's get into these battles. I had a lot of fun playing these. I still don't have my elo yet because I'm in school and so I haven't been able to play that much. What do you do against the dragon leads, which are also typical core breakers to this line because Dialga claps this entire team? Luckily, my opponent has Palkia and I respond with my own Palkia because Dragonite is sort of better, considering it rocks Dragon Claw. The reason I am rocking Dragon Tail is one, because I am a bozo. But two, your boy doesn't really like to use meta. And if I'm going to use a Palkia, yes, I had a lucky trade with a very good, nice German for this Garrett Palkia, 15-15-13, but it didn't have the special move. I didn't care. I wanted to test it out anyway, but I chose to run Dragon Tail because you reach breakpoints against Dragonite, Mamoswine, Necrozma, the Wings version, and Zygarde, which you don't if you're rocking Dragon Breath. You only reach the Dragon Breath breakpoint on Necrozma. Our target has been found. In comes Rhyperior, and it doesn't really matter if they shield us or not. Like triple Dragon Claw is the way to go since I'm up 2 shields. They could bait me, whatever. I think I'm gonna make a nice fancy catch. The third move on, not Dialga, Palkia, can be whatever you want. Honestly, I would rock Fire Blast. It is one more Dragon Tail to get to. I'm at the back right now, as you can see. But you will have a lot more play into things like Primarina or the other fairy types if you have that Fire Blast coverage. Draco Meteor hits like a truck, but it doesn't hit that hard. Who wants to see Palkia get waterfall down? Let's go, baby! Alright, so we're starting the video off strong. Don't expect it all to be this way. Another freaking Dragon type! What do you know? This is why Rhyperior is so damn common right now. So, how do you play this out? I misplayed this in this specific battle. You have to build up to the superpower. Luckily for me, my opponent doesn't shield because they know it's not a superpower. And I would have been able, or might have been able, to get to the next Dragon Claw, but they don't commit. At this point, I'm probably going to come in with Kyogre since I don't really need swap. And as I say that, of course, I come into Palkia. They don't reach another move. I think maybe they reach the Iron Head. And all you have to do is make sure you're throwing on proper timing, which is for a 3-turn move against a 2-turn move, it's just 1 in the move, 3 in the move, every odd number. I come in with Kyogre. I forget why. I forget what was in the lead. Oh, it was Dialga. I forget. This team is very very weak to the dragon types in the lead. But since they're not swapping out, it leads me to believe that they are weak in the back to it. And at this point, I can let Free Willy go down. And I'm going to just trust in Palkia, even though it has like no health left. They have a Groudon. Again, we're going to do 3 and then throw the move. My opponent is rocking Mud Shot, not Dragon Tail. There is an insane glitch going around right now. They actually lose CMP, which is pretty interesting. I didn't know that. But there's that glitch going around where you see your opponent's fast move coming, or your fast move coming at yourself, which is so annoying. It's not just Ho. I know Yasser made a video about it being just Ho, but it's not. It's everyone and their grandmother. Shout out to all the grandmothers. Necrozma comes in. Oh yeah, okay. So I left this battle in for one reason and one reason only. This wouldn't be a ruffian video if your boy didn't play like an absolute bozo. So we have a perfect lead in Rhyperior against Kyogre. They bring in Necrozma and I have the perfect response in Palkia. But what does your boy do with his fat thumbs? He chooses to bring in Dragonite. Oh man, killed me. So we lose Switch. Luckily for me, I don't really need Switch. I think I'm going to come in with Palkia. Okay, I come in with Free Willy. I'm going to shield once just in case it is like an outrage because I have gotten outraged before. And we can tank the second one. That's fine. And we just have to see what they bring in. And I might immediately swap. Okay, so I do immediately swap because I don't expect them to bring in their Rhyperior onto my Palkia, especially if I'm up a Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail is also my preference against Rhyperior. Oh wow, they're rocking Smackdown, not even Mudslap. Is my preference against Rhyperior because they are less likely, like, it doesn't matter when you throw the move, you're always going to let a free move in if your opponent also has a 3-turn move. So you can easily CMP on the Aqua Tail. If your opponent catches, then that is what it is. But typically you're going to be swapping in Palkia as your only response to Rhyperior after the Kyogre is gone. Another ground type, not the ground type we're looking for, but we're met with a Xerneas, and this is pretty good for me. They, unfortunately, they did massacre my boy, and so I think this one is actually Rock and Thunder. So now Surfs take longer to get to, which is really, really annoying. I typically play out the ones with Kyogre against any neutral lead, and then I'm just going to let it go. If I'm a tank, I survive this. I'm not a tank. Goddamn Kyogre. He's so glassy, but he does hit really, really hard. The reason we rockin' Thunder and not Origin Pulse is because I think that Thunder now does better coverage since Surf does a little bit more damage. You can also rock Blizzard if that's to your choosing. And you can see that even though they have the Landorus in the back, I'm going to have to rely in Dragonite. I throw the Aqua Tail because I don't want them to shield. I need to get energy on this. And because every Kyurem loves to bait, they go for the Glaciate instead of the killer knockout blow. They should have just gone for the Dragon Claw. Why would I shield it? If I'm going for the Aqua Tail, you should start to think that maybe I'm just going to sack this mon. And here, I need to call a bait. My opponent has no reason to bait. So they bait. Honestly, I don't even know why I didn't shield there. I think because they baited with their Kyurem, I was like, there's a high likelihood that they bait me, isn't there? And I think that was my only win con, so I had to call it. We did end up making the right call. My opponent's not going to let me farm them down, and they're going to concede the match. And we hit our 100 battles with this team, which is pretty cool. You're going to see me absolutely bozo another play. Again, classic Ruffian Romeo display. They bring a Togekiss. So if at this point you're wondering, hey, what's the save swap on this team? It's Palkia. It's Palkia. Not a lot of people have Primarinas. I mean, they do. But like, not a lot of people are using it as a save swap. Or in the back, they're primarily keeping it in the lead. So save swap Palkia because it does so much better into the fairies. You're not absolutely hard-walled. And then after this battle, I think I proceeded to just use Palkia as my save swap. Unless it was specific leads such as Palkia or Dragonite. For those ones, I typically save swapped... Oh, Palkia. What am I talking about? Okay, so they bring in Dialga, and I'm just going to stay in, try to get both these Surfs off. We're clearly very weak to this Pokemon. What Dialga wants to shield up a Surf? I believe this one. Let's see. Ah, he does shield. What an absolute bozo. So now we have to just commit to the farm down. And these Dragon Tails are looking hella scuffed because this game is kind of broken. And I need to commit to a farm down. We get it. Is there anything we can take out in the back? It just so happens to be Free Willy. If I had Spatial Rend, my opponent's win con is to call this move because I have no reason to bait. But I'm able to get to the Draco. And this absolutely one-shots Free Willy. RIP to one of my favorite Pokemon. Alright, another favorable lead since everyone is rocking the fairy types, and another dragon, so you know how this is going to play out. We're absolutely going to lose Switch. This time I do build up to the superpower. This is an incredibly calculated move because we survive. And you could be asking, like, why don't you go for the superpower to guarantee the shield or guarantee the damage? And it's because those Dragon Breaths do a lot of damage, and I'm weak to this thing. So I need to do damage. And yes, I'm going to bring back in Willy. I know this makes no sense, but they're not going to reach a Draco before I reach a Surf. This is only an Ironhead trainer. You can't fool me even though I'm a dumbass. So we go for the Surf. I just need damage on this thing. If they let it go, I come in with Palkia and snipe. They let it go. I come in, we snipe. They can't bring in their Ho. What are they going to bring? Their last mon, Yveltal. Every Yveltal loves to shield. I don't have Spatial Rend. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to bait. I hate baiting. Oh, and then they give me a win con. They come back in with Ho-Oh, trying, I guess, to see me throw an alignment. I wasn't planning on throwing anytime soon. They are one away from their Brave Bird, and I can just sacrifice this Ho-Oh to the Poke Gods. And then I should have enough health to get to 2 more Aqua Tails. And 1, strip a shield from the Yveltal, and then 2, take it out. My Willy is chilling. That sounds so wrong. In the back, and gonna sit this one out after it did some decent damage against that dragon type. So that's how we deal with the dragons. Zygarde! You reach a break point against Zygarde. So I save swap, what's his name? The wannabe centaur. And I am at the spatial rend right now. I might have been at it one sooner. My opponent actually throws an alignment, which is even better. I know this is only an Aqua Tail, and I can survive since it's twice resisted, and I should be able to make it to another Aqua Tail. That is the best buddy boost coming in clutch, if I'm not mistaken. At this point, I had taken it off of Free Willy and put it onto Palkia. Kyogre also reaches a breakpoint, Shadow Kyogre, against the Necrozmas. My opponent, I think, was committing to the spatial rend. They could have gotten an Aqua Tail off on there. And at this point, I have 2 shields. They're at the crunch. I'm going to shield. And if I'm lucky, I won't get the debuff. But yeah, my luck is type shit. So, game on hard mode. This is only a crunch. I don't have to respect it. Outrage actually does a pretty sizable amount of damage. And I'm just going to commit to the farm down. What do they have in the back? Ah, my old friend Solgaleo. I don't know why they didn't bring this into Dragonite. Like, Dragonite can't really hurt Solgaleo all that much. And Zygarde does have a better matchup into Kyogre. Maybe my opponents just had like a little bit of unfamiliarity with this. I do go for the move, even though I didn't really need to, but you know, just play it safe. Up next, we have another dragon type lead. God, you cannot make this shit up. So once again, I build to the superpower and I go for the bait, and luckily for me, they catch it, or unluckily for me, we're just scuffed, man. This whole battle is just scuffed. They are gonna let me make it to a superpower. They can't farm me down with Snarl. Thank God. If they had quick attack, it might be a little bit different. And now the Zacian is in the yellow. That is the best I could ask for. They dump energy, which is good for me. And they go for the play rough, which means they use more energy, which is fine. And I believe I'm gonna one shield and farm this thing down, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what I'm thinking. If this is a wild charge, that waterfall should KO. And it does. So they bring back in Dialga, which is beautiful because they were at the back-to-back. That was kind of one thing that I was counting on. And at this point, I'm just going to stay in and force it to throw. They need to Draco me. Are they going to commit to the Draco? What do you do, trainer? Do you rely on your backmon? What is it? It's Free Willy. Let's go. The only thing I could have clapped in the back. Oh, man. We here at the Ruffian Academy do not condone whale violence. But I will, however, bring it to you in HD. Or as HD as we can get. I probably should have shielded the first move, but at this point I can go for the back-to-back Aqua Tails. I actually knew from a previous battle that I could farm it down, as I say that. And I kind of needed to farm it down because the Dialga is just in Aqua Tail range. I didn't realize I had the Draco. This wasn't me like bozing the play. This is me just being unfamiliar with Draco energy counts. So we managed to take that game. God, you cannot make this shit up, man. The only thing worse than this is Primarina leads, Togekiss, and then I try to be an absolute savage. So another reason I like to rock Dragon Tail is because my opponents tend to throw on alignment. I'm at the spatial rend, I believe. I don't even remember how many counts, how many Dragon Tails it is to it. But my opponent shields, which is fine, and after all these Dragon Tails, you can see that they would have been in Aqua Tail range anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm weak to Palkia. I need to farm this thing down. If my opponent pivots, I might be in a bit of a rut. Our switch timers are up, but they let me get the farm down. And at this point, I'm far enough ahead on that Palkia that I think that I can win against it in the ones. But they bring in Ho-Oh, and this gives me slight copium. They go straight for the Brave Bird, which is perfect. Had they built up to the Sacred Fire, I might have attempted to catch on Kyogre, and it probably would have been my downfall. At this point, I'm at 100 energy, but I have basically back-to-back Dragon Tails loaded, Dragon Claws, and they only have one shield to their name. I think they're at like 6 Dragon Breaths or something like that is what I'm counting in my head at the time. And I just need to get this Dragon Tail off. And then does anybody else want to see a Kyogre take down a freaking Palkia? Let's see how much a double resisted Surf does against the king of water Pokemons. They let me get to the move. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. They were building up to the back-to-back. And look at that! Surf just about KOs Palkia from that health. They're gonna go for the Aqua Tail, I guess to try to get some farm down, or maybe they thought that was enough copium, and we managed to clutch out that impossible lead. Zacian is much more manageable. If they build up to 7, which I think this one does, I think that's 7. I thought they were at the back-to-back. They are at the back-to-back, but my opponent baits like an absolute savage. And I can't exactly catch on any of my back mons. That would be a sentence to death. So they shield, and at this point, like I said before, I play out the 1s. And so now I'm going to play out the 2s. I'm going to commit to a farm down because they don't get to another move. Thankfully. Let's see what they bring in. They bring in a dragon. What do? I panic. But luckily for me, this absolute degenerate, no offense, is running ABA Fairy. So what that means is I can make it to back-to-back Aqua Tails. This is why Palkia is your safe swap and not Dragonite. Dragonite would be kaput. I wouldn't be able to do anything against this thing. And I'm looking at the health on my Willy, and I'm noticing that I have enough stamina to farm this thing down and tank a move. That was incredibly raunchy. And now I just need to get moves off on this thing. I think I swap out immediately just because I don't want them to be able to farm me down, or just on the off chance I don't make it. They allow me to get to the Dragon Claw because they're farming to the back-to-back moves. They shield up this because the Dragon Claw at this point would be pretty close to KOing. And I think my opponent either realizes that they weren't gonna be able to win, so they go for the Draco. I was counting. They would not have been able to outpace me to back-to-back Iron Heads, so I would have had that game anyway. But it was just really, really cool. It's always really cool to come back from these dragons in the back and in the leads. Also, I've been hearing that my boy Venusaur has been having some play in the back in the Master League. I kind of do want to run double grass backline with Venusaur and Roserade, but I'm not exactly sure what to put in the lead. Another thing I was thinking about rocking is that rock poison type whose name escapes me at the moment. Clearly, I didn't play out the 1s here. It was mostly because I didn't really know that Zacian would survive. Xerneas would not have survived. And they bring in the wrong Dialga. In this case, the correct Dialga. And read him and weep. You're going to watch me play the worst possible hand. And I will surely lose. My opponent probably should have just gone for the Aqua Tail immediately, because they're not going to shield. And like, I know they're going to bait me and they're going to get to another move, but I have to hope that maybe it's a Rhyperior in the back. I know this isn't a Draco. I do know how to count. It is not enough, but it is an Yveltal, and then I realized that I'm not going to be able to beat that, and I top left like an absolute shed. Another dragon that claps the entire team. Luckily for me, this one decides to swap out, although I feel like they could have gone for the breaking swipe. Again, maybe a little bit unfamiliarity, but like also knowing that Kyogre does really well into this. Maybe they don't want to misalign the timers too much. I'm going to let this go. I have the other move, and I think this is a really good example of like my opponent maybe not knowing their moves. I think they would have survived that Aqua Tail and been able to farm me down without using any shields. I'm going to do the exact same play I did against that Ho-Oh. I'm going to hope that my opponent lets me farm them down. They go for the Sunsteel Strike, and I'm just barely able to get that move. They die with the Dark Pulse, and let's see what they bring in. They bring in a Ho-Oh. This time I do 4 Dragon Breaths and then throw the move, just because I want to guarantee some damage on this Ho-Oh, and I'm also going to be like capped at 100 energy. This one also goes for 3 and then throws the move, which is perfectly fine for me. I believe at this point, if they don't swap out, and this again, maybe another misplay by my opponent, they're not going to get to 2 moves. I thought for a second that I let a free Dragon Tail in, so I almost swapped. But luckily for me, my opponent was at just reaching their 4th Dragon Tail right now. And they're going to have to throw, otherwise they go down, and they do go down. I had the move, but I didn't realize it, and yeah. We managed to clutch that game. These were some exciting, really exciting battles. I'm at like a 70% win rate, I believe, with this team. That's the end of the battles. I really hope you enjoyed them. I had so much fun playing this team. If you're new to the world of PvP and you have no idea what the hell is going on or half the shit I'm saying, definitely feel free to check out this video. And also check out this video. Ultra League will be back by the time I post this vid. And this is a good, strong team that hasn't been nerfed by the move updates. So I'll catch you in that next video. Peace.